Today we are going to talk about protocols in cyber security. You see, knowing protocols and how to secure protocol is one of the most important skills that you must have, because it is going to help you to create, model some application or some infrastructure, and that actually shows how good you are in cyber security. So you need to know those protocols and you need to know how to secure them. So if you can actually do an architecture, maybe of a web application or a cloud infrastructure, and you are able to create, model it, you are good to go. And one of the most interview questions that they usually ask nowadays is they'll just give you a particular infrastructure or a diagram of maybe a web application or a cloud application, and they will ask you to create, model it, because they actually want to know your security sense, how you think about cyber security. So that is why you need to know this thing I'm about to talk about. So now let's go sharp. Now, what is protocol? Now, protocol is the rules of communication between two or more devices. So it means that the rules that computer 1 and computer 2 use to communicate to one another, or use to send one or two things to one another, that's what we call protocols in cyber security. For example, when you take up your phone and you call somebody, now as you are calling somebody, data is being transmitted to that person. That's why when you say hello, the hello will get to that person, and the person will reply with what? With I am fine. Abi? So that's data that is transmitted now. So it is transmitted using a protocol. You understand? Now that protocols, it is what you actually want to what? You want to learn how to secure in this module. So likewise, on the internet too, whenever you open your browser and you are trying to visit a particular website, you are following a particular protocol, which is called HTTP or HTTPS. So if that protocol is not secure, hackers can hijack whatever details you are sending to that website server. And as a result of that, they may hack your account, and that particular website will have bad reputation. So that's why you need to understand the protocol and their security. Now, anytime you want to put or you want to enforce security on protocols, these are the mindsets you must have. Number one, you must have the mindset that protocols contain data that are in transit. So data that are moving. This is device A, which is computer A, want to communicate with computer B. As computer A want to communicate with computer B now, so if computer A want to send something to computer B, so that data will move. So as that data is moving, you must have that sense that as it is moving, it must be encrypted so that people will not have access to it. It must not be visible to people. So that is what we want to do here. Number two things is you also want to check the authentication steps. That is, how do this computer A, how is he going to be allowed to have access to this computer B? How is this person going to be allowed to have access to this computer? So that's number two. Number three is you're also going to think of the section token. That is, okay, if this computer A have access to this computer B, you understand? Like, what section is it going to be? So how long will the section be? Will the section take long? Will it be for 1 year? Will it be for 2 years? Will it be for 5 years? Or will it just be for 1 day and it will expire? So that it can prevent hackers from hijacking that person section or that particular computer section. Yeah. The last thing you also want to think about is you also want to think about the trust relationship that must be between them. Does this computer A, does it trust this computer B? And does this computer B, does it trust this computer A? So the two of them, do they trust each other? Now, if they trust each other, that means it is okay, they can communicate. But if they don't trust each other, they should not communicate. So those are the kind of things that you actually want to put in place so that you can secure protocol. So those are the 4 mindsets that you must have anytime you want to get model, or anytime you actually want to secure protocols. Now, the first type of protocol we are going to talk about is HTTP/HTTPS. Now, this is the kind of protocol that we can find between your web browser and websites. So anytime you are visiting a website, the protocol that is making that communication to work, it is what we call HTTP or HTTPS. Now, what are the kind of attack? You have to think about the attack, because you have to think like an hacker. That, okay, what can hacker do if my browser is sending something to this web application? What can hacker do to that data? I'm sending my email, I'm sending my password. What can they do? Now, these are the kind of attack that hackers can perform within HTTP protocol. Number one, they can perform what you call man-in-the-middle attack. Number two is that they can downgrade the HTTPS to HTTP. That's number two. Number three is that they can do section hijacking, meaning that they can hijack the section that this particular computer have with this particular computer, they hijack it. Then number four is that they can do packet sniffing, because they can actually see the message that two of them are trying to transfer between each other. So they can sniff it and capture the particular login details that this particular computer is trying to send to this computer. So those are the kind of attack that can actually happen whenever two devices or two services they are using HTTPS to communicate. Now, your work as a cybersecurity, what would be your defense line for HTTP protocol? The first thing you must do is to enforce HTTPS. Enforce what? HTTPS. That's number one. Now, number two is that if you're already using HTTPS, what you should enforce next is to enforce TLS 1.2 or 1.3. TLS 1.2 or 1.3, because that will encrypt the data that is being transmitted from computer A to computer B, so that hackers will not be able to sniff it. So those are the things that you should enforce, so that you can secure what? The HTTP protocol or the HTTPS protocol. So that's number one. Now, number two protocol we are going to talk about is DNS, which is domain name system. This is the protocol that actually convert our domain name like facebook.com to the correct IP address, so that we can actually connect to that particular website we want to connect to. Now, what are the kind of attack that can happen within DNS? Number one, hackers can perform DNS poisoning. They can perform DNS poisoning, meaning that they can actually purge the DNS with what? With a fake IP. So that user that want to visit your website, they will visit a fake website instead of your own website. That's number one. Number two is that they can also do DNS cache poisoning. You understand? They can load your DNS, they can overload it with a lot of bad record, a lot of bad things. You understand? So that your user will not be able to get the actual or original data. Number three is DNS hijacking. They can hijack the DNS. They can hijack the DNS, so that before the traffic even gets to your own website, they will redirect it to another website. They can redirect all your users to another website page entirely. Those users will pick on your domain, but they'll be redirected to another website entirely. Now, as a cybersecurity expert, what must we put in place to secure this DNS protocol? Number one defense you can use is to use Cloudflare. You can configure your Cloudflare to prevent any form of DNS attack. That's number one. Number two is to enforce DNS security. So make sure you enforce DNS security. You can do that using Cloudflare as well. So those are your layers of defense for DNS. And you should have this mindset that if your DNS is compromised, it means hackers can control the traffic. So you should be the one to control your own traffic. Like people that want to visit your website or your application, you should control them before hackers control them to another page. So that is the essence of you securing your DNS protocol. So making number two. Number three, we have TCP and IP. This is network transport protocol. Now, this is the protocol that we use to send data. That we use to move data from one device to another device on the internet. So it is one of the protocol that you need to actually secure. Now, how do hackers attack this protocol that we call TCP/IP protocol? Number one is they do DDoS attack. That is distribution denial of service attack. They can overload that particular server website with a lot of bad traffic, so that the server can crash, so that people will not be able to have access to that particular website for some moments. Then number two is they can do what we call packet injection. They will keep injecting bad data, so that people will not be able to have access to that particular website for that moment. Now, as a cybersecurity expert, how will you protect your TCP protocol? Now, number one thing you need to do for you to protect your TCP protocol is to enable firewall. You need to configure your firewall using regex. You can do that on Cloudflare as well, whereby you are going to filter out bad traffic, then you only allow the original traffic to enter. So firewall, they are just like bouncer that you put in front of your application, so that bad traffic will not be able to enter. That's number one. Number two is that you can actually put intrusion detection system, that is IDS, and intrusion prevention system, that is IPS, so that they can actually prevent bad or malicious traffic from entering your web application or your. Then number three, then you can also enforce DDoS protection on cloud. So the mindset you have here as a cybersecurity expert is that you are trying to control the traffic before it gets to your server. So you don't want some bad traffic to get to your server. You only want the original, the authentic traffic to get to your server. And that's why you are configuring the WAF, you are enabling your DDoS, you are putting your IDS and IPS. So that is the mindset you must have anytime you want to protect your TCP/IP protocol. Then we also have what we call Authentication Protocol. These are the protocol that we use to log in into an application or into a particular device. So example of them, we have JWT, we have OAuth, then we have SAML. So these are the protocol that are basically for authentication, when you want to log in or you want to create an account on a particular website. Now, what this protocol does is that it confirms the identity of the person that actually want to enter into the system. Then it maintains their logins and their section, so that they can have smooth working or smooth usage of the application. Now, what are the things that hackers can do to this kind of protocol in your application system? Hackers can do is that they can do what we call token theft, meaning that they can steal one of those tokens that is being created anytime user log into your application. So they can steal one of those tokens and be using it for a longer period of time to log in behind those people. That's number one. Number two is that they can do broken authentication, meaning that they can try to bypass the authentication system. If it is not strong, they can bypass it. Number three things is that they can do JWT manipulation, meaning that they can try to manipulate. They will get the JWT token, then they will try to manipulate it and see if they can actually change one or two things there and gain access to that particular application. So that is number three. Number four things they can do is they can do replay attack. They can try to replay a particular user's login URL. They can try to replay it so that they can see if they can actually have access to that particular authentication system. Now, as a cybersecurity expert, what are the security you must put in place? Number one, you must enable MFA for anybody that want to log in into your application. So they must have MFA. In case their credential got stolen, they must have MFA. Number two is short token expiration, meaning that token, the moment they log in, that token that is being created, that is being generated, that's giving them that section for them to log in into the application, you must make sure that token expires within short period of time, at least maximum of 7 days. So it shouldn't pass more than that. It shouldn't be to eternity. Number three is that token signing with what? With a well security key. The token that is being generated must be signed and must be satisfied so that hackers will not be able to forge token to log in into the application system. Then number four thing you must do, which is under code level security, is to make sure that you encrypt the whatever password or whatever credentials your user have put in that are very, very sensitive. You must encrypt it in database using what? Using JSON web token. Now, the next one we are going to talk about is FTP/SFTP. FTP simply means file transfer protocol, while SFTP simply means secure file transfer protocol. Now, SFTP is stronger and is more secure than FTP. And what both of them do is that they are the one that enable file transfer from one computer to another, from one device to another on the internet. So whatever picture you are sending, whatever things you are sending from one device to another, it is this protocol that's enabling it, that's making it work. And as those files they are moving, so they must also be secure, and that is why you need to enforce SFTP. Now, what are the common attacks that hackers can perform here? Number one, they can actually bypass weak SSH. So they know that the SFTP use SSH, so they may bypass weak SSH if it is weak. That's number two is that if there is a misconfigured permission, they can actually use that way to hijack the file. Then number three is that they can brute force so that they can actually have access to those particular files. Now, the cybersecurity expert, how will you protect this? Your number one defense for this is principle of least privilege. Make sure that you don't give anybody access. You give people access to only what they are entitled to have access to. That's number one. Number two is that you must use key-based authentication for the transmission between those two devices that are using SFTP. Now, the next one is SMTP. This is email protocol. So this is the protocol that we use to send messages from one person to another, most especially emails. Now, how can you now what are the kind of attack that hackers can perform on SMTP protocol? Number one is phishing, which is very, very rampant. They can send a phishing link or a phishing email to somebody and use it to hijack their account. That's number one. Number two is email spoofing. They can spoof. They can pretend to be maybe the admin of a particular website and request for a secret file or secret credential. So that is spoofing. Number three is that they can deliver malware through email spoofing.